Thanks everyone for listening for at least the first 5 minutes. If I get boring, just quietly close your eyes. I won't pick on you. I'm just going to share some ideas that have worked for us. I think these are very similar businesses. So our business, I founded in June 2006. So we do primarily tax advice and tax returns for people that own private businesses. We don't do public companies. We are primarily in Sydney. We have a small office in Melbourne, and our focus, I guess, is very much the key to the business that we've built, is to be very, very focused. So when I started, what did I do? I stepped back and I said, I'd worked in accounting firms, and so I got our small director group together and I said, I'd like you to make a list of all the things that are shit in the businesses that you worked in. Because most people, if you ask them what's great about their partner, they can't tell you. That's even like their wife or husband. But if you ask them what's shit about them, they can give you a nice big list, okay? It's just how we work. So I basically go to our team, and I did it again this morning with our business managers across all of our offices. There's 14 offices. There's 250 people. And I said, look, write down the things at each level, from junior all the way through to partner, that would give you the shits. And let's try and then design the business from scratch to make sure that we don't do those things. And so that is basically the background of the business. We had a very clear strategy, just private business owners and just Sydney, and then we would build offices around Sydney and the growth ring of Sydney. And we wanted to be the first or second, leading business in each of the markets within which we operated. Now, if you've got clarity around, what your mission is and what your values are and what your vision is, you can come up with a clear strategy, you can work out your structure. But then after all of that, what we call a foundation, it's really about operations. And I guess the best thing that I did after that was I said, right, we have no revenue. And I can tell you, I was in an office that was 1/4 of the size of this room. It went from here to about there, and it was that. And I was sitting in there with my computer and I was working all this out, and I said, we have got no revenue, zero, and I need to get to 50 million, and I need to build the organisation today that can handle 50 million of revenue. Now, to give you an idea, we'll do 50 million this year, and that's after 12 years, but that makes us the 22nd largest firm in an industry of 10,000 firms. So that wasn't a small goal. That was like big, hairy, audacious goal. Let's be a proper business, and let's own one market segment, which is just private business owners. Most accounting firms kind of do anything for anyone. They don't have any focus. They kind of go everywhere. They think it's awesome to be national. We think it's awesome to be not. We think it's awesome to be awesome rather than awesome to be everywhere and be very average but be everywhere. It's like measles, you want them everywhere or do you want them nowhere? So I didn't want average anywhere. I wanted great anywhere where we were going to play, and I thought we could get to 50 million. Now, if you do that to your business, now you guys are going from 3 people to 30 people. If I sit here today and say, right, in 7 years' time you're going to have 300 people. So how well is the business going to operate if you grow by 10 times tomorrow? And you go, well, probably not that well, because at the moment it's got some things that could be better. And so that's what I, right in the beginning, was very clear that if we didn't get it right early, then it would get harder and harder and harder to fix. Now, the reason this was so clear to me was I was in an empty room. And there's some liberation about being in an empty room with nothing to do. And that's that you have nothing to do. Yeah, well, there was just nothing to do. So I was like, okay, well, I've got nothing to do. So I could choose what it was I was going to do. Whereas I'd always been in firms where if you said to somebody, how are you? And I know nobody in this room would do this. You might meet someone like me one day, it'd be quite rude, but say, how are you? And they'd say, busy. Has anyone ever met anyone like that? There'd be no one here like that, right? I worked in these firms where everyone's name was busy. Everyone's answer to everything was busy. But then I was looking at their lives as a young guy, and I'm thinking, well, mate, you're 40 kilos overweight, so clearly you haven't been working on your fitness. All right, you're a miserable bastard, so you obviously haven't been working on your happiness. You got no friends. Your golf handicap's 400. So I'm thinking, what the f have you been doing with all this busyness? I'm like, okay. And I'm working for these guys. This was why I decided to start a firm. I had this high aspiration that I couldn't do it worse. I didn't think I could do it better. But I'm looking at the partners. On average, they were 15 kilos overweight. On average, we're distributing the overweightedness, right? We're just 15 kilos overweight, 50%, 70% divorce rate. Hated the kids, the wife hated them. They pretty much hated their lives. No one had a great car or a decent holiday. And they were just, on average, miserable. So if you scored their happiness out of 10, you'd be struggling to hit 5. So I thought, could you do better than that? And I thought, yeah, I think we could do better than that. Not much better, but not worse. When I sat back in this empty room and said, why? Like, why are these people in this situation? Why was it? Does anyone know? Because they were busy. So I'm going to put you up front that try for the next week to use focused instead of busy. Okay? How are you today? Focused. Might get that impression. Okay? How are you? Busy. Well, that's good because I'm focused. All right? But if focus meets busy, busy's, we're filming, so I'm trying to, busy has problems. If you meet me and you're busy and I'm focused, you're dead. You're not just busy, you're dead busy because I killed you. Now, the number of firms that we just get in, I love smashing them up. I've got to confess, I have 7 brothers born in the middle of 8 boys, right? So it makes you a little bit robust. Because they'd be busy. You'd phone their client. How do you take their best client? Just phone him every Monday at 10 o'clock. Every Monday. Do it 6 times in a row, and guess what happens? On the 6th week, he says, or she says, I've heard more from you in the last 6 weeks than from my accountant in the last 6 years. Why don't you come over and have a coffee? That's a very good idea. Okay? So either we're going to be busy or focused. So let's vote for focused. Now the question is, busy doing what? Well, we're not doing that anymore. Focused. Focused doing what? Now the business is still quite small, which is great. What did I do this morning? I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. I'm only going to give you 30 seconds though, because I've just got the attention span of a gnat, right? I get my business managers in. These are the guys who really run these businesses. And I said, right, draw a circle. Draw a circle, break it into 4 parts, and write the 4 things that you spend your most time on. You draw a circle? Yeah, big circle, break it into 4 parts, the 4 things you spend the most time on. I'll give you 30 seconds, which will probably only be 10 seconds.
Talking in life or at work?
No, at work. I'll get into your life in a minute, but we'll do work first. Because often work and life look the same. We'll talk about that. What's your name?
Rob.
Rob, okay, we're going to talk about your life in a minute. You got a wife, Rob?
Yes, I'm busy.
That's good. So I'll have a little bit of fun. So we've got a circle, we've got the 4 things in there. Okay, then I want you under that to write your shit list. The 3 things that are shit about your job at the moment. And don't put clients on there. It could be one of them. But if it is, put it on there. Okay, so I'll keep going while you're writing. Is everyone finished? Didn't take long to come up with 3 things? So I'll ask 2 questions. On the big circle, is that circle exactly the way that you were promised the job would be? And is it exactly the way that you would like the job to be? Is it like a picture of your perfect job? Was that a yes?
Yes.
I just hear people laughing.
Tough questions, isn't it?
Okay, that circle of where you're spending your time in your job, is that what you were promised?
Probably.
Probably? Okay, let's imagine it was. But is it what you want it to be?
No.
Okay, so the question then becomes, what are we going to do about that? Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to actually make your job better. And if each of us makes our job better, it'll make the business better. So what do we do? We're talking about having 30 people that are no longer busy. We're going to turn them into 30 people that are focused. And what are they focused on? Making sure that that circle has the 4 things that they are spending the most time on being the highest value activities that in fact they're meant to spend their time on. And then we're going to empower you guys to get rid of the 3 things on your shit list. Most of the stuff on people's list, guess whose fault it is? It's your fault. All right? Your fault. Why? Because you're the one who knows best about it. There's no way the boss can go, oh, well, there's 3 things on each of my 30 people's list. That's 90 things, and I know exactly what they are. Half the things I heard this morning, I'd never heard. That's why I hold these sessions. I get my business managers in, tell me the 3 shit things. Right, let's fix them right now. How can we do that? So one of them in our place was debtors. Okay, oh, I've got these guys. I spend 25% of my time ringing debtors. I said, why do we have debtors? Does everyone know what a debtor is? Somebody who you did the work for and hasn't paid you. I call them thieves, but they call them debtors. That's what Coles calls them when you go down and take an apple and you eat it on your way out and you don't pay. You say, don't worry, I'll pay you in a week or 30 days or when I get around to it. Right? So I said to them, look, if at the front desk there and we're there, you've simply said, look, we don't have debtors. You either pay with your credit card when you get here, or you pay out of your refund, fee from refund, or you pay this financing agreement, then you don't have any debtors. Why don't we just get rid of debtors? And they were like, could you do that? Now, the good news is, more than half the office is already doing that. They all went, oh yeah, that's what we do. Don't you do that? And they're like, oh, we didn't know that. It's like, right, go back to your office and make that happen. The second one was a couple of the clients are pigs. Could you believe? Right? They're rude, they're horrible. Every time somebody sees them or their name or anything to do with them, everyone goes, ugh. I said, why don't you just go and share this letter with them? I gave them all a letter. It says, you know, we're choosing to invest our time in the best clients, and we've worked out you're not one of them. So please go and join one of our competitors. Right? What do you do when you've got bad people in the business? You sack the bad people fast, because a rotten egg can rot in the whole barrel very, very quickly. Now, most people can do that, right? But they can't sack a client because they've got no guts. And there's no guts, no glory. Get rid of the bad clients. Go through your list. Look at your worst clients. They waste your time. They cause misery. They bring the energy of the business down. So you can solve most of those things on that shit list if you will tell someone. Go to the boss, say, hey, mate, does it have to be like that? I had one this morning that, did you know, when you close a client, it's really annoying. So when, you know, they close down a company because they've died or something's changed, there's about 20 steps and it's annoying. They said, what can we do? And so, well, 20 steps, it's annoying. There will be things in your job that are annoying, okay, that are shit, but we'll admit that to each other. But if you can make 80% of your job actually good fun and focused and obviously helping you make progress, then it'll change the business. But it is ultimately about each of the people in the business. Now let me show you some slides. We have high aspirations for our business. We want the business to deliver these things to people. We want the business to make people healthy, wealthy, and wise. We believe that for them to be great at their job, they have to be great people. So we invest in helping them to get healthy. We lead it. We exercise ourselves, and we encourage people to exercise. I've got people who are 72 years old working for me. I've got people who are 18. I've got every shape and size. I'm not talking about taking everyone to smash themselves in the gym at lunchtime, but I am saying to my 70-year-old mate, maybe you should go for a walk around the block. Don't not go for a walk around the block because you don't have time, you're so busy, and we won't let you. So we're trying to get people healthy. Do you think there's a business reason for that? Yep. Yeah, healthy people have more energy. And the number one driver of a business is energy. Can't change anything, improve anything, win anything without energy. So I'm trying to get our people first to be the best people they can be. I want them healthy. I want them wealthy. What does wealthy mean? Spend less money than you earn. Live in a moderate home, drive a moderate car, and make sure you can pay your bills on time. Half the reason people can't do their job, whatever that job is That means be a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a decent employee. It's because they're worried about paying some bill they haven't paid, because they spend money on stuff that they don't need to impress people that they don't like. So they're poor. I'm talking about they're poor in spirit. They are down and out. They feel bad. Oh yeah, I spent all this money, now I've got no money. And then as an employer, here's the big news. When I grab them and I say, now what's going on? I never ask them about their job. I ask them about their lives, Rob. Because it's not me, it's them. I bring them in, I say, mate, how's your partner? Don't have one? That's good. How's life? You healthy? Yep, good. How's your family? Good. Because I'm thinking, this guy's not doing his job. It's not my fault. It's his fault. Do you owe the ATO 10 grand that you haven't paid, or your next door neighbour that you borrowed money off to buy some big screen TV or something? And it is always something outside the business. It's not the job. It's always. Because 99% of people's lives are outside their job. Right? The dog died, the cat's not behaving, or whatever. So healthy, wealthy, look after your money. There's a business reason for this. If your people look after their money, they don't keep asking you for a pay rise. Right? I know people that come in and ask me for a pay rise. I go, what'd you do with the last 80 grand I gave you? They go, oh, why are you asking? I said, I don't reckon you're a good investment. I keep giving you money, you keep wasting it. I'm just going to stop doing that. And they're like, huh? Because fundamentally, you can't have winners at work that are losers. If you have in your team a loser, an unhealthy, an unwealthy, and a determinedly stupid person, i.e. not wise, I'm stupid heading to more stupid, then what's your business going to be? Do you think when they walk through into your office, they suddenly become healthy, intelligent with their money, and thoughtful? That's not what happens. It's just not what happens. They're the same person at work as they are at home. Now, to Rob, if somebody's not doing their job at work, you know, I had this guy and he never ever finished anything. It's like he washed the car, you know, but he only washed 3/4. Right? It was all muddy, and then he washed 3/4, and then there was 4 seats, so he cleaned 3 of them. Never finished the job. I said, mate, you never finished the job. And he started arguing with me, which you probably get the impression is probably not a good undertaking, right? It's not a great hobby. And I said, well, that's good. What's your wife's name? Great, I'm calling her. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, you spend more time with her than you do with me, and I can tell you, I reckon she knows you better than I do, and I reckon if I ring her, she'll tell me you never finished your job either. You make the bed this morning? And he's like, oh, of course I made the bed. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I'm ringing the wife. Because people are whole people. They're the same person at home as they are at work. So as leaders in this business, which everyone needs to be, you want to make sure first that you care about the people that sit next to you that work in the business as people. You want to help them get healthier. If you know that they are trying to lose weight, please don't offer them a hamburger. You know, I'm working out, the wife comes to me the other day, do you want this pastry? She knows I like pastries, right? And I'm like, no, yes, no. No, yes. Right? I'm like, take it away. She's like, just a little bit? No. So encourage people here as people. And then what do you get? You get better people. What happens if you've got better people? They're better professionals. Why? They've got more energy, they're happier, they feel on top of their stuff. Can you imagine that somebody who's just got bills running off the cliff in their personal life is going to come to work and do a really good job of running their P&L or their anything? It's not going to happen. They'll be as bad with the business's money as they are with their own. So we started with a clear strategy, where we wanted to be, who we wanted to be when we grew up, and then understood that first you've got to get the people right. You've got to get the people right as people. And if you get the people right as people, guess what happens? All good things. Because those people are the ones that make the business. It's not me. I had somebody come up to me the other day and they said, you know, I can't believe how good your people are. I said, why do you say that? I said, I'm a good person. I said, I'm good at picking good people. They said, no, we've met a lot of your people. You've got really great people. I said, well, that's the secret, right? We had a function last night in our Northern Beaches office at Brookvale. We bought another firm that we merged in. And the guy, James Russell, who's ex-Westpac, is running our finance team, was there. And one of his former clients is a client of the firm that we bought. They saw him and they literally went up and gave him a hug and said, we didn't know where you went. We weren't able to find you. Can you please come back? You're the best banker we've ever had. To which we said, great. Then they came up to me and they said, you know, Vince, who's joined your business, and Belinda, the wife, they're such great people. I said, well, that's great. I said, so you like James, you like Vince, you like Belinda? I said, are you getting the theme? And they're like, yeah. So you just go out and try and get great people. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just trying to get great people. So let me share that at the end of the day, this is what's powering you as a person and the person sitting next to you. Their ideas, what they believe. And so if you want to actually try and work that out, that's hard. What do you believe? They'll tell you some story. So don't do that. Just do this. Watch what they do. They are what they do, not what they say. I'm 250 kilos, health fanatic. Really? You walk down the street, you grab the 10 fattest blokes you can find and ask them how to get healthy, and without any irony, they'll start telling you. You find your poorest friend, go to the pub and go, man, I'm really struggling, how do I get richer? And he'll start telling you. There is this disconnect in our society between knowledge and action. People don't realise. They're like, you know, yeah, I know how to do that. It's like, knowledge is not power anymore. That's called Google. All the world's knowledge is there. It's what you do with it. If I ask any unhealthy person how to be healthy, they can tell me. They do know. If I say how to be wealthy, they know. How to be at least not stupid. Wise is hard. They know. If I read a few more books and watched a little less Married at First Sight, I think I'd be a bit cluier. Really? It's true. So people know. But all of us struggle to do what we know. Now in your teams and with each other, encourage each other to do what you know you want to do and what you would do and should do if you were being the person that you know you can be. You want to know who they are, watch what they're doing. What do actions lead to? There's a little hint I wrote on the wall for you. They lead to habits. And habits are fast to form and slow to break. It's hard to break habits. And they power people without them knowing. It happens to people. But here's the big news. This applies to your business. If your business gets into the habit of accepting behaviours and systems, processes, ideas that are bad, they become normal. And then what do people say? Oh, that's just what we do here. And then it's hard to change. Oh, that's just what we do here. And if it's not the right thing, that's hard. Now, harder to stay fit than go from unfit to fit. Anyone ever been to a gym here? Great. Anyone been to a gym and then not gone to the gym and then had to go back to the gym? Yep. Every time that happens, you go, I should have just kept going. Yeah. Okay? Restarting is hard. I've been going to the same gym for 9 years. Why? If you get a habit that works, just keep doing it. But it's so hard to establish those habits. And in your business, you've got more than one person. Most people can't get their own habits right. It's difficult. Now, if you think it's hard to start habits, let me share something with you. It's even harder to change the habits of a group of people. Okay? Change management, very hard. How do you normally do it? Does anyone know how you normally change the habits of a group of people? What's this bloke's name? What's your name? Robert?
Yeah, man.
You do that. That's how you normally change habits in a group of people. You kick them out. That's what you do. I buy a business, I look at the habits, I want to change the habits, what do? I go in. Firstly, I change the physical environment. Secondly, I train the people. And then I make sure I fire enough people that everyone knows that I'm not mucking around, that I'm focused, not busy. Oh, you're not too busy not to notice you're not doing your job and I can fire you. I can fit that in. I'm a serious guy. I'm not mucking around. Why? Because our clients deserve a seriously good job, not a half-assed, half-done job. That's the facts. So this is what happens in a business. It's what happens to us as people. It's what happens in a business. So while you guys are still at a small number of people, there's an amazing opportunity to reflect on this and go, hang on, is that the habit I want to have for a lifetime? Do I want this to be like that for the next 10 years? Because if you don't fix it now, it's not going to get fixed. This is the time. So I've got this tiny room, I've got these tiny habits, and I've written down every single process. 800 pages in a manual. How to run an accounting firm, how to bill, how to buy, how to this, how to that, how to not do this, how to not do that. It's all written down. And then we train it. And if you don't do it, we train you 3 times like at Macca's. If you can't teach them to, cook the chips 3 times, you train them 3 times. On the 4th time, what do? Redeploy them to Hungry Jack's. Otherwise, what happens? Spend the rest of your life going, please make your bed. Please make your bed. I hate that. I don't want to do that. And finally, that's your destiny. As a business, if you can get these things right, you get a momentum. And in all of life, you need to first build energy, but if you can get the energy up and get the thing going the right way, it builds momentum. Now in Australia, to be in the top 100 firms, you need about 3.5 million in revenue. There's 10,000 firms, right? In the US, to be in the top 0.1% of businesses, you need 50 million in revenue, right? 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 small businesses go broke in the first 5 years. Almost none get to 10 million in revenue, like it's 5% or less. Okay? The stats are unbelievable. And then if you go out from there, 50 million is 0.1, and how long do they last? Blah-de-blah. Why do you think that is? Because if you start wrong, you end up wrong. So in that early stage, you're that plane on the runway, you better point the plane at the right place. Because once you get some momentum, it's very, very hard to change. Typically, you've got to land the plane, throw a few people off, clean the thing, and go again. Okay? So that formula for me, it informs the way I think. If I want to change a person, I've got to change their ideas. I'm looking at their actions, I've got to change their ideas. Is it hard to change people's ideas? Extremely. Extremely. So what's better? Hire people with the right ideas. Now, how good is our recruitment process? How many steps? Who does the recruiting? How many steps in the recruitment process?
Probably not enough.
I have 17 and you don't know. That means I'm focused and you're busy. Okay? I've got a manual, it's got 17 dividers, they're numbered, and it includes every wickedness that's ever occurred through bad hiring. Check this, call this guy, work this out. It's a checklist. Why? Because you forget stuff. Is it important to get the right people? So if you're going to have one checklist in your business, and if you don't do anything before you leave here today, write that one. What are the steps to hiring well? Once you've done it, send it to me, I'll send you mine. Okay? And you check it off and go, oh yeah, shit, that's a good idea. Most of the things we're doing that are important, we've done them before, and we're going to do them again. So I want to write a list. Not too complicated? So here's some ideas. I'm going to 5 big ideas very, very quickly. I want you to get organised. I want you to have a clear plan. I want you to take action and keep scorecards. I want you to do that in your personal life, and I want you to do that in the business. You get organised, and we'll give you this stuff, okay? You get organised. I'm going to learn the violin. I need a violin and I need a teacher. Probably need some music. Okay? I'm going to go on Tuesdays. That's my plan. Tuesdays I'm going to go, then I'm going to have an exam once every 6 months. Then I actually got to go and do it. And those exams, what are the exams? They're the scorecards. What do most of us not like doing? The last bit. We just tell ourselves we're awesome. We don't like to keep scorecards to prove that we're not. Do that with your own personal budget, do that with your own personal net worth, and do it in the business. Change your life. Very, very simple. It's a very simple formula. Do it with your teammates, do it with each other. Say, hey mate, I'm doing it like this, how are you doing it? And help each other. The best thing that we did in the business was, early we were quite organised, had a clear plan, took massive action, kept checking back, are we actually making progress? to where we said we'd go, which means we need to write it down in the first place, because most people change their minds when they get their results. Make sense? They go to the gym, say, I'm going to lose 10 kilos. And they lose 2, and they say, yeah, that was my plan. Right? They change their plan for their life to match up with their actual reality. Now, I've always said, are you the person you said you'd be when you grew up? Most people don't want to answer that question because they are busy. Why are they busy? Because they don't want to look at the truth of their own lives or their own business or their own job. They'd rather just say, I'm too busy to think about that. Now, in all seriousness, on the 2nd of this month, I celebrated the 14th anniversary of my 45-year-old brother dying. He went out one morning, got a 18-year-old daughter, driving to a conference, got hit head-on by a truck, dead. 45. Time is limited, death is certain, don't muck around, because you could be dead tomorrow. I had a client late last year, came in, I'm 53, I've got 6 weeks to live, pancreatic cancer. He only got 4 weeks. You don't want to spend that 4 weeks trying to make up for the 53 years that you didn't do what you said you'd do, when you do it, to become the person you said you would be. So we don't have forever. We don't have forever in the business. We don't have forever in our lives. So for me, because of that 14 years ago, I'm aggro. I'm 44, I expect. I said, well, if I'm going to die at 45, I better get everything done. Because it could happen. So I've had an unusually personal opportunity to reflect on, well, life just doesn't go on forever. So if you get yourself organised, you keep coming back and saying, okay, how am I going? How am I going? If you're doing annual reviews in the business, do monthly reviews. If you're doing monthly reviews, do fortnightly reviews. If you do monthly accounts, do fortnightly accounts. If you do quarterly accounts, do monthly accounts. The more often you look at the things that matter, the more likely you are to do something about changing them. Most people look at their lives how often? On New Year's Eve when they're drunk. They make proclamations about how next year will be, and 99% of them never happen. Okay? While it's funny, it's also sad. I wrote a best-selling book when I was 22. I interviewed 34 prominent Australians after I lost a job, and I had person after person, I did 2,000 professional speaking engagements, come up to me after and goes, you know, I've always wanted to write a book. And I was really patient the first 100 times, but after that I was like, I've got to ask you, how old are you? 54. So when are you going to do that? Like, you're waiting to die or retire? You could die before you retire. Like, what are you waiting for? Oh, well, I've been busy. Okay? Now, if you've been busy doing what you love, you know, I've been really busy. You know, I was skiing for the last 2 years, and I just didn't have time because I love skiing. Cool, man, that's a great reason. Okay? But if you've been busy, doing not much, watching Married at First Sight, it's not a great answer. This is your life, my life, and your life. Your life's either going to be a chocolate cake or a spa bath. I argue it's a spa bath. Chocolate cake, this bit, you know, work, home, friends, divide it up and, you know, they don't talk to each other. It's not true. Your life's a spa bath. If anything goes wrong in that spa bath, like in Caddyshack, we'll see who's old, you've got to empty the whole Caddyshack, you've got to empty the whole thing out, you've got to clean it out, she gets it. You've got to start again. So be very careful who you invite into your spa bath, and I'm very serious about that. In the business, when it's small, if you get some shit in the business who shits in your spa bath, you've got to clean it out and start again. And everyone laughs, but everyone's worked next to that person. So have a decent process to recruit. Don't let them in. If you're half unsure, you're better off to say to your people, look, I can't find a really great person, so you're going to just have to work harder for 5 minutes while I find a great person. Because I respect you enough not to hire an idiot and put them next to you. Because it takes a long time to clean up the mess they create. And most of my great people say, that's fine, Brett. Let's just wait until we get a really great person. You know, I just don't want an idiot in the business. That's your life as a spa bath. Great view, or it can be quite ugly. Who do you want to be? Write a list of 7 people you want to be. Write a list of 2 people you want to be. And every day say, well, if I was a little bit more like this and a little bit less like that, I'd be better off. Now, as a business, you can do that. You can say, you know what, when we grow up, we want to be more like Apple than anyone else in our industry. Or we want to be more like Louis Vuitton. Or we want to be more like Walmart. When we started, I had a whole list of companies, which I'll share with you, that I said, these are great companies. Now, let me tell you, there were no strata business on there, Rob, or Rob? None. Okay? And there were definitely no accounting firms. Right? I was like, what are the great businesses of the world? What do they do? And how could we become a little bit like them? These are some of the people I've interviewed. I've interviewed 100 of Australia's most prominent people. Do you know why? They know stuff. Do you know what happens when you get near someone who's amazing at what they do? Hopefully it rubs off, but it should certainly stop your delusion that you're awesome. You see? I compare Kelly Partners to Apple. I go, Apple's marketing, it's so consistent and beautiful and integrated and timely and speaks to you personally. How's ours versus that? 2 out of 10, maybe 3, probably 1. But if you compare yourself to your industry, you're just going to be the average of the average of the average. Do you know what that is? Below average. So if you aim for the Rolls Royce, you fall short, you get the Merc. If you aim for the Merc, you fall short, you get the Holden. If you aim for the Holden, you fall short. What do you get? Hopefully you like walking. And that's okay. Walking's good for your health. But you want that to be a choice. I'm not taking the Rolls Royce today, I'm going to go for a walk. Most people are like, I'm going to go for a walk, then I'm going to walk a bit more. Why? So just meet some people who are great. Think about the businesses that are great. And if you did just that much of any of those businesses, your business will be radically better than your competitors. Now, I'd encourage you in Sydney to do a little excursion. You walk into the city, George Street, and you stand opposite Apple. Hopefully not in the middle of the road, ideally in the middle of the road, stop the traffic. Apple, Louis Vuitton. Apple, Louis Vuitton. If you could do 1% of what they do, and 1% of what they do, you'd be 10 times better than any strata company. 1%. What do? They look good, and they always look the same. So everyone knows who you are. You walk in, the guys are in blue on that side, and you know exactly who they are. And they never say, oh yeah, thanks for coming, I'm talking to my girlfriend, but the stuff's up the back. They come and say, yep, right, no worries, I'll get someone else to help you. They never run away from the problem. They're experts. They get an expert to you. That's easy, just 2 things. After they've sold you something, you don't even have to move. They say, no problem, I'll get that iPhone for you. It comes out, little Oompa Loompa comes out. They go zip zip, they reach under the thing, and they get the bag, they put it in, they give it to you, say have a nice day. There's just 3 things. They are all systems, they are all processes, have all been written down. And they're not that complicated, is that right? Reckon we can sport everyone a blue shirt? Now if you go over there to Louis Vuitton, it's the same place, looks good, smells good, 5 cents experience. Looks good, smells good, you touch anything in there, feels good too. You go in there, buy the smallest, cheapest thing, and they'll treat you as if you just spent 50,000 bucks. None of this is like a secret. But I can't believe that nobody pays attention. They've raised their prices at 10% a year for 20 years. Would you like to be able to raise your prices at 10% a year for the next 20 years? So why can they do that and we can't? Probably they just do 3 or 4 things better than we do. They do 100 things better than we do. They're 1%ers, and those 100 1%ers give at least 100% difference every year. Not that complicated. There used to be a business officer that called Darryl Lee. Does everyone remember that? They're on the corner. They owned that corner for 100 years. And you know what? They went broke. The guy had paid 20 million for it, sold it for 250 million 2 years later. Because all he did was when he bought it, I reckon he set his deck chair up and he looked at that one, he looked at that one and said, if I made this one a little bit like that, a little bit like that, I reckon it'd be pretty good. I'd go, okay. That's all he did. It was that simple. So it's not complicated. But thinking's the hardest business in the world. Henry Ford, that's why so few people do it. And just doing those little things really well is what has to happen early in order for the business to be good. Go meet people who have ideas, get them into your business, and make sure they're in there to add some energy, to add some inspiration, and just try and pick up a little bit. How do you grow? How do you grow the business? Anyone know? What's your name in the blue? Pierre? JL? Jana. Jana, how do you grow the business? We'll go right back to the beginning. How do you make the business better?
Cocktail.
Make better people. Yep. How do you grow the business?
To look after your customers as well as
Jerry?
How do you grow your business?
Yeah.
Training people and processes.
Yeah, you grow your business by getting your good people and growing your people. Okay? So no business I've ever seen, we've got 8,000 businesses as clients, so it's a fair sample. I've never seen a growing business that isn't led by growing people. I've never seen a growing business that isn't led by growing people. Never. It is impossible to grow your business if your people aren't growing. It's got to be led from the top, and the leadership should expect their people to do 1/10 of what they do. How do you get people to grow? You've got to get them to read more. If you do one thing you heard here today, get a reading list for the business, put 2 books on it, make everyone read them. Our 2 books are Good to Great and Raving Fans. If you don't read them, I fire you. I literally say in your first 6 months you're on probation. If you don't read these books, I pop quiz you and you can't answer, I'm going to fire you. Do you get the sense I'm joking? Because I'm not. Okay? I give you the books. I say it'll change your life. It'll make you a better person. Your wife will even like you more. Your kids might think you've got a clue. Your friends will like you too. It's all good. So it's not just for me, it's for you. But if you can get 2 books read, you get a common language. And there's no culture in the world that's a culture that doesn't have its own language. You know, you can't be Italian if you can't speak Italian. You know, I love Italy, I'm Italian. Do you speak Italian? Oh no, I speak Chinese. So we need a common language. A reading list, that's our reading list. We make people read these books. Say, read these books, change your life. Now why do I have this extended list of books? This book I wrote, these 2, you've got to read these 2 or you get fired. I have this extended list of books, I give it to you. I give you the books too for free. Why do I do that? Because I want to know how much to invest in you. You see, I'm going to invest dollar for dollar of what you invest. So if I've got these books listed on a page, I come to you and I say, oh, how many of these you read? And you've read 2 out of 8. I'm going to make sure I invest 2 out of 8. But if somebody reads all 8 in the first 3 months and comes back, what are the next ones I should read? And I think I learned this and I learned this, I think we should do this. What do I think I do with those guys? I double down on those people. I know they're high potential, that they want to learn, that they want to grow, and they can help us change the business. It's a measure of what's called discretionary effort. Effort you can make, but you don't have to. Make sense? That's the game. Growing businesses, led by growing people. Growing businesses have to have growing people. How do you grow people? You've got to get them to read some new stuff. You've got to get them to go some new places. I think my clicker's not doing it. You've got to get them to go to some new places. Make your people go places. Oh, but I'm too poor. I can't go anywhere. Yes, you can. You know that $1,000 phone you've got? It's not actually for porn. It's actually for learning. So BBC goes to Africa. Go to Africa. Watch a special on somewhere. Learn. There's documentaries on every great business, every great leader ever. I watched 12th Hour the other day with Winston Churchill. I thought it was unbelievable. It's about the 5th time I've watched it. Then I thought I really want to listen to his speech so I can hear his actual voice. So I just go YouTube, there it is. And here he is talking to me. You can be mentored by the greatest people of all of human history on your phone, with your earphones, on the train, instead of whatever else you do. Now what's interesting is when I started, in 1997 I lost a job, I wrote this book, I released it in 98, there was no YouTube, there was no phone. I actually had to find these people in a written copy of the Who's Who of Australia, write them letters, and ring them 5,000 times in 3 months until they agreed. Now, you don't even have to bother phoning them up. Because Warren Buffett, for example, has like 1,000 hours of Warren Buffett on YouTube. You want to know what he thinks? You want to know what he's like? You just sit down and watch 2 hours a night forever, and your brain will just quadruple daily. Unbelievable. It's like the most exciting time to be alive if you're a learner. Now, learning leads to, does anyone know? It rhymes. Learning leads to earning. Okay, if you're smart and you can execute, you're going to make more money, in case anyone's interested in any of that. And then here, work out the areas of your life. Are you a member of a community organisation? Are you a member of a gym? Are you a member of a birdwatching club? What are you doing in these parts of your life? Make your life bigger. Now, in your iPhone, there's a little hashtag in your contacts. Your earnings will track the number of people you know. Your earnings will track the number of people you know. Okay? So if you grow the number of people you know that like you and you like them, you'll earn more money. So grow your life.
You can't grow a business without growing the life. So we've got to make sure that these people who are growing are out and about, meeting people. What will that do to the business? We've got 30 people who've got 1,000 apparent friends on their Facebook. That's 30,000 people. If they had 2,000 people, that'd be 60,000 people. If you had even a no% conversion rate, your business is going to grow. So in order to grow the business, you have to grow. In order to grow how much you earn, you have to grow. Now here's a little tip. You can't earn more in a business that doesn't earn more. You have to leave. Okay? So to me, there's real alignment here. I've always said to our guys, if you can help us grow by growing, you'll earn more money. And that's what happens. Now, we're going to run out of time, if we haven't already. This is the heart of what we've done. We know that in order to be very strong, you need to have very strong systems. Okay? You've got to have, your phones have got to work. Your IT's got to work. Every time somebody phones your business, it should be answered the same way. The phone should never ring more than 2 times. There needs to be strong systems in the business, and they need to be consistent, and if they're consistent, they'll build your brand, and if you build a brand over time, that momentum will build your business. For inspiration, I looked at Disney for people. I looked at Walmart for processes, Apple for clients, Berkshire Hathaway financials, and for brand City Morning Herald, I just said, if you're worried about anything you do or you're not sure what to do, just work out, would it be okay if it was on the front page of City Morning Herald? That's the game. Now you can find the Walmart story, you can find the Apple story, you can find the Berkshire Hathaway story, the Disney story, and you can inspire yourself in the business by understanding these. I've just shared Disney. I want it to be a place where people would come and work for free. Thousands of people every day go and work in Disney's parks for free. They wear funny outfits, and I'll take you and show you where they're talking. Okay? Does anyone know why that is? Because it's the happiest place on earth. Imagine if you could have X number of thousand people working for free in your business. So the test for me, right from the beginning, was if I couldn't pay this person, would this person come and work here? Now I'm married. I'm married, right? Professional married. Okay? If my wife would only stay in our relationship based on our financial position, I'd sack her. And the big news is she knows it. She knows what I'm like. Okay? She was with me when I was poor as shit, and she's still with me. But that's always been my mindset. I don't want a team member who's with us simply because of the money we pay. Now, what's my test? What's your name?
Jade.
Jade. What's my test? When you come and interview for me, with me, I have a great question. How much do they pay in your current role? You say, you get squeamish actually, you go, oh, well, the agent said, 90,000. I said, yeah, that's not the question. I know the agents lie, but I'm not employing them. And if you lie to me, we're not going to have a relationship. Oh, okay, great. And before you answer, I'm going to want a copy of your pay slip, your current pay slip. So tell me, what are you earning? Oh, I'm on 65. Great food. Righto. How much do you want? Well, before you answer that, why are you here? Well, I just told you, because my boss sucks, the systems are broken, the place isn't growing, I can't see any opportunity for advancement, they don't train me. I say, okay, well, let's write all those down. Great. So if I could give you all of those things, would I have to pay you? Because like at the moment, the guy pays you 65, he doesn't do any of that shit. If I do all that shit, you should pay me. And they go, oh, yeah, that'd be good. So this thing. They go, yeah, actually, that's a good point, Brett. I said, well, because there's got to be some value in that, right? Because I'm investing to do all of that, and you need it, and you want it, and I'm happy to give it to you. But I'm not going to pay you to do it. So I'm not going to give you 90 grand to come here because we're awesome, when you've been working for some other bum for 65. I have a rule that I will never ever pay anyone 1 cent more than they're earning their current job to join Kelly Partners. So if you're on 65, you're not getting 1 cent more than 65. Because I should be able to make the argument that there's the 65 you're getting at the moment, plus you get to work with me. Hey, And you get training, and you get a growing organisation, and if you're any good, you're going to earn more and more and more and more, because at the moment where you are, you get danger money. It's dangerous to be there. You ain't going nowhere, my friend, and your life sucks. That's why you're sitting here. That's the test. Now, most people are so desperate to hire, guess what they'll do? A lazy man or a lazy woman's answer is just to pay money. It's because they're lazy. And why are they lazy? Because they're just as bad as the bum you're working for. Hey, listen, I'm a bum. Your guy at the moment, he's a bum. He's paying you 65, but I'll give you 75. You come here, you can be my bum. I'm a bum, he's a bum. We'll all be bums together, but you get 10 grand more. Whereas I'm saying, have some standards. Be the best person you can be. We'll help you do that. We'll pay you 65. There's a clear formula that if you deliver, you earn more money. And guess what happens? People join. The turnover is 8%. The industry is about 35. We're growing at 37% a year, and the industry growing at 2%. So that's about 18 times the industry. What do you think happens to a comparable person in a role? They earn more than the industry, and they can continually grow their earnings. Why? Because the business continually grows. So that's the system bit. You're getting the sense under each of these places, you guys need to have how do we recruit, how do we develop, how do we retain, how do we exit, and here's a one-pager. What do we do in our processes? We only do 10 things. What are they? Let's write it down. Get everyone to agree, and everyone to agree to do it that way. Is it set in stone forever? No, because as we learn, we change things. Same with the client. What is the client's experience? Wouldn't it be bad if I ring one office and then I ring another, I ask them for the same thing, I get 2 different prices, 2 different proposals, and 2 different forms? That'd be pretty bad. One of my largest client groups are the McDonald's franchisees. How did I pick them up? They were all with the same accountant. I saw 3 in a row. They were the same age, the same size groups. I asked them to each give me their work, and I simply did one thing. I met with 3 of them together. I put their work out on the table, and I said, you know how you guys sell cheeseburgers, and they're all the same? Well, this guy's selling you cheeseburgers. This one's literally wire bound. This one's staple bound, and this one was literally leather bound and gold embossed. I said, you're all paying the same fee and the same service, but you get it in 3 different ways. I said, fundamentally, that's the problem with the person who's servicing you. And they just went, yeah, no worries, all sign their engagements. And it's grown and grown and grown. So you will get rewarded for that in your industry if you get it right over time. Your financials, your model pretty clear, and then reputation as you build your reputation and enforces the business. This is the same in terms of your life. I never want you to think that I would say anything to you with respect to the business that isn't the same for your life. Okay? In your own life, most people have a plan in the business. Is everyone working to a budget in the business or some sort of KPI? No? Okay, well most people know. Yeah, most people got a bit of a KPI. Has everyone got a personal budget? Yeah, right, almost no one, right? There'll be 10% of people here have got a personal budget, and 100% of them have got a KPI at work. Right? So this stuff is applicable at home, it's applicable at work. Okay, get a budget for work, get a budget for home, you're working so that you can build your life as well. This is us, we're chartered accountants, we do lots of accounting and tax and audit and specialist advice in the strata industry. We've been at it, Peter Dawkins has been in the game for 30 odd years, Rex Hoven, who was my old boss and joined us, which is how we got into the industry. I worked with him many, many years ago. I've been in it 23 years, he's been at it 45 years. And look, we love the industry and we work in it. I guess I'd finish by saying your business is not very different to ours. Okay, tax returns are a relatively passive activity for the client. Strata is a relatively passive activity for the client versus the latest iPhone. You know, an iPhone is changing and upgrading every 6 months. Our businesses don't tend to change at that rate, although they will increasingly change faster than they have in the past. They are needs, not wants, so they are great places to play. And as you know, everything, you know, they'll probably strata this room next week in 4 bits. All of Sydney's being strated in this. So there's a huge opportunity. What I would say as an industry observer is that it is for the up-and-coming groups to change the game, and the opportunity is enormous for anyone that gets it together. And in order to not feel too overwhelmed with everything I've shared today, you don't have to get very much right to make a very big difference in your industry. All right? It's not like you have to do 200 different things tomorrow. You probably already know what the things are, and it's just a question of can you consistently improve the way that you do those things. In conclusion, I'd like to thank everyone for putting up with me, and hope that by doing all of that, you can enjoy the business more, enjoy coming to work. We spend so much time at work that we might as well, make a little bit of fun. So thanks very much. Thank you.